What's going on, everybody? It is episode 1059 of Pop Culture Crisis. I think we're all up and running and good to go. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day and a fantastic start to your Memorial Day weekend. So I hope you're all doing well. And with me today is my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello again, crisis actors. It's Mary. I am back and better than ever with significant improvements. I do have an extension cord this time, so my laptop is not going to die on this episode. It is charging right now. And on top of that, I am still trying to figure out my lighting situation. So if you think, wow, Mary looks exceptionally greasy and reflective today, right here you can see I'm basically reflecting the light like a mirror.
That's okay.
It's because of the webcam on this laptop that I'm not used to, and I don't like it. So, yeah, there's your update. We're at least going to get through the entire show today, and we're not going to have to auctioneer the entire time. Knock
on wood that nothing goes wrong. If it does, I'll just start talking about... actually, I don't know. Like, what would I pivot to today? On Wednesday, I had Betty Boop to pivot to. There's nothing to pivot to today.
You don't have an emergency plan B this time?
Well, I used to do that. When we first started remote and you were getting kicked out of the room, internet-wise, I would always have like an emergency story just in case. Didn't always end up, like, it'd end up being something I would use the next day if it would be planned for the next day. But I'd have it set aside. Break glass in case of emergency story. So
I think we're going to be okay today.
Fingers crossed. Guys, hit the like button on this episode. Subscribe to the channel. If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. Share the episode out with your friends and your family and your loved ones, people in your life that you like and the people in your life that you don't like. Everyone. You should share the videos with everybody and then argue in the comments section about whatever it is that we are talking about. I also just want to give, do it at the beginning of the show and at the end of the show. We will be off for Memorial Day. I was thinking about doing a movie review, but I can't bring myself to care enough to go see Mandalorian and Grogu. I can't.
Oh, damn. I thought you would.
No, I can't.
You would push yourself.
I don't care enough about. I will never care about Star Wars enough to go and see not even like a main trilogy movie, not even like an anthology movie, like a C-tier TV episode stretched out into the length of a movie. Though I did find out that apparently the runtime of the Odyssey is 2 hours and 52 minutes, which we will get into. It's going to be long.
Oh, well, I expected it to be even longer than that. I did expect it to be over 3 hours.
Well, that's good for Christopher Nolan for having...
Was it Oppenheimer?
I think Oppenheimer was just about 3 hours or 250 or something like that.
Yeah, that's typical of him.
Maybe the studio wanted it to be longer, but they couldn't get a hold of him because he doesn't have a cell phone. that was what happened.
I'm just so analog and I'm such a hipster, bro. It's not because I'm a multimillionaire. It's because I'm a hipster.
They covered it on Fox News.
Like in praise of Christopher Nolan for not having a smartphone? Or...
I feel like the idea was more like it's a sign of privilege.
Well, it is.
It is.
And I said, I know that privilege is interpreted by people on the left as something unearned, but I made the astute analogy that prisoners earn privileges for good behavior. Mm-hmm. Some privileges are earned, and Christopher Nolan's privilege not to have a smartphone or use email is also earned.
It was like I think one of my first exposures to as much as I hate this word, wokeness. Progressive ideology in the real world. Yes. Was when a friend mentioned, I was talking about how my dad, over holidays, Memorial Day weekend, would take off Friday because, my dad worked for the Army Corps of Engineers. So he'd take off Friday. So then he'd get Monday off. So he'd have an extra long weekend because he took he had the time, the paid time off built up so he could take that Friday off. And he was talking about how it was privileged to be able to take long weekends like that. And I was like, no, he saves up his paid time off and then he uses it when he can take the most advantage of it. That's not privilege. That's just taking advantage of something your job offers and using your time wisely.
Yeah, that sounds like a loaded term in that instance.
Anyways, that's the way it is, guys. What are we talking about today? We do got a bunch of stuff to talk about. As I just mentioned, the Odyssey. We are going to get into the Odyssey today because Lupita Nyong'o did exactly what she should not have done after the backlash online, which is to address it publicly, which is just, she's not learning her lesson. Millie Alcock is not learning her lesson. Even the guys making He-Man talking about fragile masculinity are not learning their lesson. They keep talking about things that is only going to get people to go and see their movie less. So we will talk about Lupita Nyong'o's reaction to the backlash to her casting.
I have a question.
Go for it.
I have a question for the class. Is it racist to call Lupita Nyong'o Lupita Gongo?
No, because it's an inside joke.
But that just means it's a racist inside joke.
No, it's because her last name is similar to the word. So
I guess
that's you're living on you're operating under like the premise that they could say that and it would be true. It would be like when they say that she's not the most beautiful woman in the world, and then somebody tells you you're racist for saying that. Has nothing to do with race.
Don't worry, I was never genuinely worried about anyone thinking I'm racist. That would be uncharacteristic of me. So
we'll talk about Lupita Nyong'o. We are also going to talk about the Wahmen of the Odyssey. I did not see an article written about the hulking masculine studs of the Odyssey, but maybe that one's coming out next week.
What's that about?
I don't know what that's about, guys, but maybe Matt Damon.
Where's like the like teen like Tiger B tabloid cover of like Tom Holland and Matt Damon.
And I don't think you'd put Matt Damon on there because he's too old. Maybe Robert Pattinson squeaks by.
Yeah,
he's like my age, but he's there. Bernthal, you got to throw him into the ocean. He doesn't count. He's too old now. So we will talk about it. The Women of the Odyssey. We'll get into it. It's a separate topic from Lupita Nyong'o. We are also going to talk about Chelsea Handler, who's calling apparently comedians other than her, racist and sexist because she's the only one who's allowed to be those things. So that'll be
racist jokes for me, but not for thee, according to Chelsea Handler.
Also, apparently the media is working overtime to try and make me love Miles Teller by trying to make me hate Miles Teller, right?
Well, I mean, this is just an insane story because I didn't learn who Miles Teller was until Top Gun Maverick. I guess I was out of the loop. But,
sure
he did this profile over 10 years ago that he's still pissed about because they made him sound like such an arrogant dickhead. And he's trying to correct the record now.
He's like,
to save his reputation.
Well, no, you know why? Because he's got FU money from that liquor company he was investing in that he just sold. So he's like,
oh yeah, what was that called?
I don't remember. It had a name. I don't know what it was. It sold for an obscene amount of money, as these things always
Miles Teller, I barely know her.
And, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about how this one thing is giving women the ick. If you want to know what that is, if you want to head this problem off the past, you better stay tuned.
Out, fellas.
We'll be getting into that. So if you're ready to go, Mary, we can go. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go for it then.
Okay, so it's not even July yet, and the Odyssey is in full damage control mode. Lupita Nyong'o just did a full profile in Elle magazine talking about her role as Helen of Troy. And of course, they expected her to address the racist backlash. But I want to address this in its full context because I am just obsessed with context. It's one of my favorite things. So she did express that she cares very much about the source material, but went about learning the story in a misguided way. She went and read the Emily Wilson translation of the Odyssey and then listened to the Emily Wilson translation of the Iliad as well in the process of preparing for this role. And we'll get to why that's relevant in a second. But here is the start of her response to her casting, which sounds totally inoffensive at first. Nyong'o will play Helen of Troy, the daughter of Zeus and Leda, as well as Helen's sister, Clytemnestra. Helen, of course, plays a pivotal role in the Trojan War and is also widely regarded as one of the most beautiful women in the world. She says, "I was so deeply honored to be entrusted with the role. I mean, she is iconic. What more can I say?" Evidently, not much. During our conversation, she is careful not to divulge too many details about her character or the film as a whole, as Nolan has a reputation for wanting to maintain a sense of mystery around his films. So that is where it should have started and ended, basically. I was honored to be entrusted with this role. She's an icon. The rest of it is a secret. It's all under wraps because the movie's not out yet. You can just basically say that to any question in any interview. Just say, oh, I wish I could tell you more, but
that
the
is
movie's
a common
not
thing
out
to
yet.
say. That's a common thing that they say. You know, oddly enough, when it's a movie that's less important, but in this case, yeah.
Totally valid response. But of course, they pressed her further for more on the subject of the racist backlash. So I want to mention, by the way, they get a comment from Christopher Nolan here in defense, preemptive defense of his decision to cast her in the role. He says, the strength and the poise were so important to the character of Helen. And Lupita makes it look effortless. I'm sure there is a tremendous amount of discipline and training that goes into projecting that kind of poise and feeling the emotion bubbling beneath the character. She's just an incredible person to work with, and I was absolutely desperate for her to do the part. So they have him come in to buttress the point that she is fit for the role, and then they get a comment from her. They ask her what it means to portray the face that launched 1,000 ships. She quickly dismisses the idea. You can't perform beauty. I want to know who a character is. What is beyond beauty? What is beyond looks? That's the thing about doing such a well-known text, which has been studied and interpreted and derived from. The research could be endless. The good thing about working with a writer like Chris is that it's on the page. The investigation starts with the pages you're given. That's what I based it on. After her casting was announced, Nyong'o faced racist critiques about the decision to cast her as a Greek character. But she reminds those who may have forgotten, quote, this is a mythological story. I'm very supportive of Chris's intention with it and with the version of the story that he is telling. Our cast is representative of the world. I'm not spending my time thinking of a defense. The criticism will exist whether I engage with it or not.
I appreciate.
She elaborates on this thought at another point in the conversation, saying, it's quite something to be a part of the Odyssey because it's so grand. It spans worlds, so that's why the cast is what it is. We're occupying the epic narrative of our time.
We can get back to the globalist nonsense in a second, which is what that is there. Disparu's tweet about it is really good. I'll read that when we get a chance to get to it. More importantly, to the top, when she talks, when she's waxing poetic about how do you perform beauty, what is this character, you know, who is this character? That's what I mean when I talk about how actors feel deeply and they look for what is quote unquote the truth of the character, which is that they approach the profession in a far different way than a critic does, or even a passive fan who may be analytical of the final project, whereas they're looking for some sort of deeper meaning that will inform their performance. And unless you actually act, I imagine it sounds absurd, because it sounds absurd to me, but I understand where the instinct comes from to think that way as a performer, because we've talked before about the idea that acting is inherently silly to begin with, and to quash that feeling of silliness, you have to feel like you can get to the core of a character beyond just the physical, the physical characteristics of what they are as. None of that makes any of the rest of it something you can't criticize. I'm just saying that part at least tracks completely as the self-important nature of the actor or the performer.
As we always say, you can't place blame on Lupita Nyong'o for accepting the role.
Get your bag.
She even said in this interview that she would have jumped at the opportunity no matter what role was offered to her, because it is such a huge seismic shift for anyone's career to be in a Nolan film, especially with this one being such a stacked cast. I don't blame her at all, but I do think she could have been more adequately prepared for interviews where they ask questions like this and lead her into a response that will turn into a soundbite. And
I don't even know. The thing is, I don't know if
reactions.
there's a way around it anymore. Because half of it is the soundbite, half of it is the way it's framed in the paragraph leading up to it. Like, I don't think there's actually a way around it anymore. I've said that in the past where I've given like my Monday morning quarterback answer, and it doesn't matter because they'll just clip the part that you say that qualifies the statement anyways.
Right. Well, the futility in her responding to it at all is pregnant in the very words that she delivered there, saying the backlash is going to be there whether I address it or not. So really, why bother anyway? Like, why bother addressing it?
I do not see. Did Zendaya say anything about it?
No. I mean,
that's the point. Zendaya knows that there's no good answer.
They didn't gesture as much at the racism angle in her piece, but we'll get to that later. It was more so the focus in the piece on Lupita Nyong'o. And it is more so Elle Magazine's fault.
Yes.
For saying that it was racist critique, because Lupita did not say that herself. She did not say that it was racist. She didn't even really suggest that it was racist.
Again, they can't win. It's you know where I've realized that this is happening now as well is when I saw some story about like Thora Birch coming out as bisexual, when most of the time coming out as bisexual now means they mentioned it in passing at like an interview or some type of press conference. And it's framed in the way, I don't know if that's the truth of Thora Birch, but a lot of times now they mention it. And then it's the way that the headline is framed that makes it seem like they got up on like a podium and decided to tell the world when it was never meant to be taken that seriously, but it's framed that way. Back to the globalist nonsense of all of it. There was what Disparu said, which I agree with. He says, it's not meant to be representative of the world. The world doesn't matter. You don't matter. It's supposed to represent the story and the culture of the region.
Right. Well, it's also inherent to the story that it's a story of coming home. It's not a story of Odysseus traveling the world anymore. It's a story of him coming home.
No wonder Nolan wanted to do it. That's like his favorite trope is the story of the guy coming home. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And I do think Lupita Nyong'o was placed at a disadvantage from the beginning, just in the fact that she was picked for this role, but also the fact that Chris Nolan's source material was the Emily Wilson translation that is notorious for changing the actual meaning of the story for politicized reasons. And I did find a more specific example of that recently. An excerpt was posted by this user, Roman Helmet Guy on X. Yeah, he posted this excerpt of a line delivered by Helen of Troy. It says, I never saw two people so alike as this boy and Telemachus, the son of spirited Odysseus, the child he left behind, a little newborn baby. The day the Greeks marched off to Troy, their minds fixated on the war and violence, they made my face the cause that hounded them. And this is an incredibly inaccurate translation of the original text. They say Emily Wilson completely changed the meaning of a key word in the Odyssey to make it seem like Helen of Troy didn't blame herself for the starting of the Trojan War, when in fact the text makes it clear that she did. He references a line in which Helen calls herself dog-faced, an insult meaning shameless, commonly used to refer to unfaithful lovers. For example, it's used elsewhere in the Odyssey to refer to Aphrodite after she cheats on Hephaestus with Ares. And in the Fagel's translation, it says, all you Achaeans fought at Troy, launching your headlong battles just for my sake, shameless whore that I was. That is Helen's quote. Lattimore's translation is, for the sake of shameless me, the Achaeans went beneath Troy, their hearts intent on reckless warfare. Wilson changes the meaning of that dog-faced word to hounded, which is not even the same like part of speech. She's trying to be cute by translating dog-faced to a word that still relates to dogs, even though its actual meaning is completely unrelated. Yeah. She then applies this word to the Achaeans, saying that they were hounded, not Helen. Her translation in the image below. This is obviously an ideological change that she made because she personally believes Helen shouldn't be blamed for the Trojan War. She deliberately distorted the meaning of one of the foundational texts of Western literature to conform with her modern beliefs.
Wow.
And this is the exact translation that Chris Nolan has used to adapt his script. So we're already so divorced from the true meaning of the story on multiple layers. The version that Lupita Nyong'o gets handed in the original moment where she read the full script in one sitting is already well beyond even a close, like it's not even similar, especially for her character and how her character is supposed to feel.
Well, removing guilt from the situation is a very modern idea.
Yeah, especially for a female character. And I think this could have been a great opportunity to exceptionally portray a female character that is not Teflon.
Just show her
missed it.
a picture of her, and now it says, women taking responsibility for their own actions. Difficulty level, impossible.
Like, I just want to know, I want to hear a more detailed explanation from Nolan on why he chose the Emily Wilson translation. I want to understand why he made that decision.
That is a very interesting one. I don't know. I also fully admit that I bet you when this movie comes out, that for the most part it will be deeply immersive and it will not suck as much as that translation seems to indicate that it could possibly suck.
And on the race stuff, you said people were like having a field day making fun of Mel Gibson for his casting of replacing Jim Caviezel as Jesus in the follow-up to Passion of the Christ. They chose this new actor who I had never heard of, who's very Nordic, to play Jesus, and you're only seeing him in this far away shot. But if you find headshots of this actor, he's blonde haired and blue eyed, and people are just freaking out about how they didn't choose a Middle Eastern actor to play Jesus in this one. And I was like, well, why was everyone so like mum on this when Jonathan Rumi got cast as Jesus in The Chosen? Because, like, I guess I thought he was white. I don't know. It's a relative term, I suppose, but I looked it up and it says Jonathan Rumi is of Syro-Lebanese, Egyptian, and Irish descent with additional Armenian ancestry on his father's side. So he's Middle Eastern, but basically anyone on the street would recognize him as being a white guy. He's a white passing Middle Eastern guy. But that, for some reason, got more of a pass than Mel Gibson's casting choice. Ultimately, I don't think it's analogous to what's going on in the Odyssey casting choices at all.
Yeah.
And you can even see that in religious art over millennia.
I mean,
different cultures have portrayed Jesus and the Virgin Mary as people who look like them.
Yeah, I've seen
that's totally fine.
A lot of people do various different like collages of the different interpretations that people have made.
Like, only non-Christians complain about this. Not only, okay, there are some like super liberal Christians who do complain about this, but it's mostly non-Christians because they don't understand that the important part of Jesus being incarnate is that he's taking on the human nature, that not that he looks like any particular group of people, but that he is a person. Like, that is the important part. That he glorified human nature by becoming human.
All right, let's move on. There's more stuff to get into. Let's talk about the Wahmen of the Odyssey.
Yeah, so Elle Magazine just published a 4-part cover story featuring all of the women who star in the Odyssey. They have a cover of Anne Hathaway, of Zendaya, of Lupita Nyong'o, and Charlize Theron, all separately doing their own full-length profiles in the magazine. And they're not going to focus on the men at all because I guess they don't need the same validation. And, you know, in true girl power fashion, they have to share the spotlight or else it would be unfair.
I mean, it could just be because, like, it's Elle Magazine. Like, the dudes could have, what, the cover of Men's Health?
Is this, like, the tactic of doing press to get women interested in the Odyssey because it's so male-coded to, like, be a Nolan fan.
Does your husband love to talk about the Roman Empire? Do you need a way to connect with him this summer at the, at the movies? Go see Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. There's lots of ladies in it.
Yeah. And I read through each of these profiles and noticed there was basically the same formula in each one, where they have to get a comment from Christopher Nolan himself, defending his casting choice for each one of them. And they got a comment from Matt Damon in each profile as well.
I mean, that makes sense.
Keeping praise on each one of them for their own reasons.
But this is one of those things that I do laugh about, but it would never make sense to do otherwise. It's like when they ask Alan Ritchson, how's the new season of Reacher? He's like, it's the best one yet. One day, I do want the actor who's like, it's like somewhere between seasons 2 and 3. Like, it's not as good as season 1, but it's definitely better than season 2. Nobody likes season 2.
I had my doubts, but it turned out better than I expected.
You know what? It started low and ended on a high note, and that's the best I can say. Like, I know that that's not what's actually going to happen. Like, you go to puff pieces for puff pieces. That's kind of the point.
So in the profile on Anne Hathaway, here is what Christopher Nolan has to say about her playing Penelope. That is the estranged wife of Odysseus. There is a maturity to her performances now. It's not that something was missing before, it's just developed as moving through life develops us all. Her work has a sense of quiet calm to it that's really remarkable. And despite her veteran status, Nolan says Hathaway is always looking to challenge herself. She is never satisfied with what she's done in the past or what she's doing in the moment, always striving for something just beyond her grasp. They say, in the Odyssey, Hathaway plays Penelope, who spends 2 decades fending off over 100 suitors while she waits for her husband to return from war. She says, we think about Penelope as a model of patience, but I was interested in the raw edge of her. I was interested in the fury, the emotion, and the passion that she would have had to ride for him for those 20 years. And that is, interesting that she would say that when in the stills of her performance we've seen so far, she is unable to portray that emotion because her face is paralyzed from Botox. But, there were some more promising looks at her in the movie where she was able to scrunch her forehead more than the original shot that everyone was circulating. In the Zendaya profile, Christopher Nolan says, we would be in the maddest of craziest situations, just all of us fighting the elements, tearing our hair out, all of these things going on, and Zendaya would sort of parachute in from her other job with this sense of true grace and poise. He says he sought out Zendaya for the role of Athena specifically because of that iconic grace. I mean, she is literally playing a goddess. It's a tall order. She is a true movie star, but also an incredible actor. Matt Damon also added in his statement, Chris is known for being very circumspect. When you do a take, it's not like he says that was great. He'll go, good, okay, and then that's the equivalent of the greatest praise you could ever get. Zendaya, on the other hand, there were takes where she did one thing, this amazing scene, and he said cut, and then he went perfect. And Tom Holland and I were obsessed with this. She got a perfect. I've never even gotten a great. She got perfect. He and I bitched about it for the entire rest of the film. Did you get anything today? No, I got a good. Moving on. Yeah, me too.
Interesting.
So it was this amazing ability she had to come in and really put herself in there and blow everybody away and just go back to shooting Euphoria. You forget she and Tom are very young actors and very accomplished for how young they are, but they're still in their 20s. And he adds, I absolutely adore them together. They deserve each other. They're the two loveliest people. I
mean, look, I'm not an actor, so I can't, like we make the jokes because we feel like Zendaya takes these roles that, where it feels like she's making the same facial expression all the time. But
it's weird, right? Like, we're talking about how she blew everyone away, and the still that they release from the movie is just her making the Dune face.
I guess it's more like I can accept the idea that I don't know enough about life, about what it means to be a director in Hollywood to understand the type of grace or concept that he's talking about here. So maybe it's possible this isn't all just PR and she actually is that talented and I just don't get it. I can accept that maybe that's true, but otherwise it just seems like PR to me.
And they only briefly gesture at the aspect of her race in the movie, not nearly as much as the profile on Lupita. They say Zendaya has been open about going out for roles that are not just written with Black or mixed race women in mind. She says, I don't want any bounds on my creativity. So that was really all they said in reference to the race-related discourse on her playing Athena.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting that they didn't lean into it more. I would have expected that from them.
I don't think that conversation is there for Zendaya though. Like it's never been about that for Zendaya.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation about Zendaya is a couple of things. It's that she can't act and that she's in everything. Mm-hmm. Like race doesn't seem to play a role in a lot of the discussions. I mean, it feels like they tried that kind of wedge when she first got cast and it just kind of disappeared because she didn't have anything to say about it, which is interesting.
Well, honestly, like, I think it might be different because they see it as her getting a pass because she's playing one of the deities in the movie instead of a human being. And I saw more backlash to Lupita being not pretty enough than her being Black.
Well, yeah, that's what it became. It became you're a racist for not thinking that she's pretty enough.
Right.
And that was one segment of the discussion. The other segment of the discussion was people saying she's not Greek and she does not look Greek, which is, of course, not necessarily even a fair argument because everybody's talking in plain American accents. Even Robert Pattinson is using like a generic American accent. So the whole thing is like primed for like a world of fucking discourse. And I'm so sick of, like, given the fact that discourse is my job, I'm unbelievably fucking sick of discourse.
And there was a major eye roll moment in the Charlize Theron profile as well. So she's playing the sea nymph Calypso, who in Homer's telling keeps Odysseus captive on her island for 7 years. Calypso is a mass of contradictions, a lustrous goddess powerful enough to hold Odysseus, but powerless to make him want to stay, or to overrule Zeus when he orders her to release her lover home to his wife. So I ask Charlize Theron, is Calypso a villain, a tragic figure, or just a woman who fixates, as many of us have, on an unavailable man?
Been there.
Like, are you really turning the Odyssey into 2026 dating discourse right now?
Yes, they are.
This just seems unnecessary. And she replied, I see her as all of those things and also none of those things. Mm-hmm. She says, I was given a chance to do something that I haven't had a ton of opportunity to do because she's a little bit of everything. That's what's so beautiful about her. And a lot of people on their own cast me in this movie, and they cast me very differently. It was a real opportunity that Chris gave me to do something that didn't feel like typecasting. So that was all that I saw of interest in the Charlize Theron profile. But I just thought it was interesting that they were going to such great lengths to reach out to a female audience to promote this film.
Well, yeah, the point earlier I was making, Mike in the chat said I was wrong because I mentioned the Roman Empire. I was not saying that this took place in the Roman Empire. I'm saying that they're trying to find a way to give these women an in to things that would be inherently male, like the Roman Empire, or in this case, the Greek Empire, whatever you want to call it, Greek mythology.
I do just want to add one more wrinkle here. Mm-hmm. There is a risk that we're going to get an America Ferrera moment from Charlize Theron in this movie.
Like a speech? Like a speech from Barbie, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Throughout Greek mythology, the gods rape and kidnap mortal women with impunity. Calypso's signature speech comes when she calls out their double standard. One where goddesses who sleep with men, even after marrying them, are met with cruel jealousy. So Charlize Theron says, I feel like a lot of her heartbreak lies in that hypocrisy. Even though she's goddess, she is really longing for connection. It was interesting to look at somebody with the power she has who still really couldn't do that much with them. And not that I want to make a direct correlation to it, but there's something to be said about women living their lives today in a powerful manner. And yet a lot of our rights are being taken away every single day.
Do they explain which rights those are?
I guess abortion. I don't know. It's just, again, it's just totally unnecessary to sprinkle that into the interview. It makes zero sense. It bears no correlation to the story whatsoever. And hopefully it has nothing to do with the script that she was given. Just sounded like she was foreshadowing some kind of feminist rant in the movie. We'll see if that's true.
All right, so let's go to Cringe and Cute. Your internet is going like in and out of yellow and orange today, so I'm going to be by the time
we're nervous.
By the time we're done, I might have had like a minor heart attack. But if we lose you, I'll do super chats because I don't want to do these topics without your input. But we'll just play things as they are today. What would you like to see first, Cringe or Cute of the day?
Let's see the Cute first.
Okay, all right, Cute of the day. I'm sorry, but I love this one. My name is Jed sent this one. The dog doesn't look very happy to be being photographed, but it's a great photo.
This is indecent.
Yes. It's like, what are you doing? Cute. Leave me alone. Okay. All right. Let's do the Cringe of the day. Here we go. If you're listening, ladies and gentlemen, it says less women in STEM, ?
What's even worse about this is supposed to be a comedy set.
Okay, here we go.
In male-dominated positions. Did you say boo? I did. You booed? You don't think that more women should be in male-dominated positions?
You want to do concrete work, darling?
What did he say? I don't even know what he said.
He's talking about women working in concrete.
Does it require a PhD? So you're saying that women should do... Okay, well, now I'm curious. I really would like... What work do you think women should do then? Men should do concrete work, okay? Because you like concrete, and they need to play with it. I get it. But what kind of jobs do you think?
You get more women in mining.
We should get... They still do mining? What are we mining for?
Copper.
We're mining for copper?
Arizona's the largest.
Oh, I did not know that. So you're saying that you're trying to get more women in mining or not?
It's up to you.
Oh, it's up to me.
Yeah.
Well, preferably I prefer not to mine because I have a master's degree and I would rather not do that. But I think that if women want to mine, they should be able to go down into the mines to mine, right? Right? Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm so tired, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just move on. That was not a fantastic...
Women yearn for the mines.
The real question is why she put this in, is this supposed to be some example of crowd work, but it's really bad, so it's...
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, she doesn't wreck him at any point. She gets clapped her at the end.
Yeah. I was waiting for the clap back where she really puts him in his place, but no.
Okay, well, all right. Let's move on. Speaking of not funny comedians that are women, let's talk about Chelsea Handler.
Chelsea Handler just turned herself into the comedy police, and she wants everyone to think that she's just the queen of being unbothered, or at least pretending to be. But ever since this roast of Kevin Hart on Netflix, she has been seething. And I really didn't expect it to get blown this much out of proportion afterwards. She just went on a podcast and went on a rant about how all of the jokes, except for hers, were icky. She said there was so much disgustingness, especially from the comedians in her presence that night, Shane Gillis and Tony Hinchcliffe. She called their jokes racist and sexist. And this is so classic. She says in this interview that their ex-girlfriends reached out to her on DMs and started ranting about how they're bigots. And it's like, well, why would you date a guy who is so toxic and bigoted in the first place? That's kind of weird. But they say during a Wednesday appearance on the Funny Knowing You podcast with Dion Cole, Chelsea Handler said that she had received messages on social media about Shane Gillis and Tony Hinchcliffe from their alleged former partners. When asked what they had told her, Chelsea Handler said, it's just everything we know, that they're racist, that they're bigots, that they're sexist. So let's play this clip that TMZ shared from that full interview.
Yeah, here we go.
And I knew they would be lazy because they do that for a living. And I knew enough about like Tony Hinchcliffe and Shane and their backgrounds. I had ex-girlfriends blowing up my DMs that had dated Shane and were telling me stuff about him. So based on that, I was like, oh, these guys are pretty bad.
So you had something on him that you was going, you could have, tell us now, what shit Shane?
It's just everything we know, that they're racist, that they're bigots, that they're sexist, you know, that they think they're like invincible. It was ick. It was gross. I don't find those jokes to be funny. Jokes about lynching black people or like lynching is not a joke. That's worse than rape. Like, you're not joking about rape, are you? Are you saying, I'm going to go rape you? You know you can't do that. But
That's not a joke. That's just a threat. Continue.
You can say lynching. Like, I find that to be, I don't know. You know, people are like, it's a roast. You go for it. I'm like, you can go for it without being gross. Yeah. Like, I find that to be gross. I found them making fun of Cheryl Underwood's, like, dead husband who committed suicide. Like,
skin color.
You know, she's fine with that. If she says she's fine with that, she's fine with that. I wasn't fine with that.
What about Pete Davidson's dad? Was he upset about those jokes?
What about his dad?
His dad died in 9/11.
Did Pete Davidson make jokes about that?
Other people did, I believe.
Oh, was there a separate roast of Pete Davidson?
No. They like those jokes were done at the event. Like just like you said, not all the jokes end up being about the person being roasted.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a 20 here from Shane H. Wilder who says, the site Marginally Compelling has a great article on Wilson's translation and calls her on not understanding the point of Homer's works. They go in depth in her nearly 100-page intro to the Odyssey disparaging Odysseus.
That sounds like a good read before watching the movie. So I don't know if she intended to do this, but it was just weird that she needed to say, like, she needed to prove that lynching is bad because it's worse than rape. Like, I don't know if you want to really start an online discourse about which thing is worse. Like, we can just say that they're both bad, and that can be the end of the discussion. But that was just a weird thing to say. And she said it because of Shane Gillis's joke. It wasn't a joke about lynching, but here is the quote from Shane Gillis. He said, Kevin Hart is so short, you'd have to lynch him from a bonsai tree. And I'm sure that received a lot of uncomfortable laughter in the audience. And that's why she was like, I don't think that's funny. I don't think that that's like okay to joke about because that's worse than rape and stuff. And they asked Shane Gillis for a statement in this Hollywood Reporter article, to which he responded, this is a big moment for Chelsea. I'm glad she's capitalizing. Good for her. We're all rooting for her. Anyway, come to see me July 17th at the football stadium in Philly. And she also criticized Tony Hinchcliffe's bit aimed at Cheryl Underwood, where he brought up her late husband, Michael Sparkman's suicide. This is the quote from Tony Hinchcliffe. Her husband committed suicide 3 years into the marriage. I've been sitting next to her for 2 hours, and I have to ask, how did he last that long? And she said, I found that to be gross. Making fun of Cheryl Underwood's dead husband is gross. You know, she's fine with that. If she says she's fine with that, she's fine with that. I wasn't fine with that. But then again, it's like, well, nobody really asked you and nobody cares.
That's society. Well, no, isn't that a big part of Hollywood, right? Is the I'm offended on your behalf.
Yeah. And then Dion Cole asked her, well, how did you feel when you looked around the room and there were a bunch of Black people laughing at jokes about Black people and about lynching? Did it make you feel like you were in the wrong for being uncomfortable with it? And
That's actually a really good question. That's actually a fantastic question, and it leads me to believe that he's probably doesn't have the same problem with it that she does. Yeah. He's just doing his job and asked, like even the way he kind of like tacitly agreed with her in that clip tells me that he probably wasn't nearly as offended by it and probably saw her as that very much stereotypical white knighting female liberal
who's being a performative white savior
who's being upset on his behalf. Good on him.
So what she said in response was like, well, look, I'm in no position as a white woman to tell anyone in the Black community how they should feel about these jokes. I know I have plenty of Black friends who they throw around the N-word, and like, it's not my place to tell them that that's not okay, but it makes me uncomfortable, and that's all I have room to speak on is like how I feel about it.
She's unwashed and in her lane.
Yeah. And elsewhere, Tony Hinchcliffe was criticized for a joke that referenced George Floyd. He said on stage, "The Black community is so proud of you," to Kevin Hart. "Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us, all laughing so hard he can't breathe." So that was another one that just was a twist of the knife in Chelsea Handler's sensitive anti-racist soul.
Well, you good there?
What?
You're good there? Your headphones went crazy. Something crazy what happened there on your on the audio on that end. I don't know what that sound was. That was crazy though.
I didn't hear it.
Okay, something on my end.
Okay.
But like the thing is they found their own version of that right now, which is Charlie Kirk jokes. Like they're like, if you go on Instagram at any given time, there are so many Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk jokes.
Oh yeah.
And the Erica Kirk jokes are almost more expansive now than the Charlie Kirk ones. And then it's a matter of whether you believe that it's about, then you have to have a discussion. Do you have the discussion about whether it's too early, and then you have some arbitrary decision on when it's appropriate to start making jokes about a tragic incident? You can talk about the circumstances, about whether that person, the type of person that George Floyd was versus the type of person that Charlie Kirk was, makes them more acceptable to be joked about. And then you have to, again, we're going to have the same discussion just in the other direction, which is that it's jokes and you better learn to be okay with it because somebody is going to deem it appropriate. And they do that at these events now.
Right. And it's been, I think, also longer since the Summer of Love. So it's like less risque to make a joke that references George Floyd.
And the Charlie Kirk ones were almost instantaneous. But the internet has become more and more unhinged in how quickly it's okay with, and a lot of that starts with like the first assassination attempt on Trump, which is like the joke started almost instantaneously, and now there is no cooling off period anymore. Like, you're going to run headlong into somebody on some corner of the internet that doesn't believe the same things you do. They're going to make jokes about it because they don't feel a connection to that person, and you either better be okay with it or be called a hypocrite.
Yeah. And in case any of you missed our initial segment about the roast, I want to mention that one of Chelsea Handler's jokes that she delivered on stage was at the expense of Shane Gillis, for the reason that he got kicked off of the SNL cast. I think this was in 2019, right? He made a joke on some podcast about Asian people. I think he might have said, I don't know if I can say the word.
You can't say the word. No, you can't.
Wait, whatever.
Can't say the word.
You guys know the slur probably that I'm referring to about Asian people. He used it on a podcast. And back in 2019 or whatever year that was a big deal. It's not a big deal anymore. But it's interesting that she made a joke at his expense for calling it his favorite slur in Chinatown, when she is actually guilty of maybe worse examples of like comments and jokes about Asian people, stereotyping Asian people. This fellow comedian, Steve Byrne, delivered the final blow to her credibility in this video. He had an unsavory interaction with her over, I believe, 20 years ago on The Tonight Show. Let's hear his account of events.
Here we go.
Gross. Chelsea Handler accuses Tony Hinchcliffe and Shane Gillis of being bigots, racist, and sexist. This is pretty rich coming from her. Here's a personal experience I had with her. It affected me, okay? The year's 2007. Chelsea Handler's doing The Tonight Show. She goes on making fun of Angelina Jolie's newly adopted son, Pax, 3 years old, happens to be Asian. She says, this kid, he's young. He doesn't even know he's Asian yet. He doesn't know how bad of a driver he's going to be or how good at nails he's going to be. Now, this drew intense backlash, accusations levied against NBC of being racist, et cetera, et cetera. Here's where I come into play. 2 weeks later, I'm booked on The Tonight Show. I have a pre-approved set. I'm ready to rock and roll. They say, you can't tell your jokes about being Asian. I was like, why? They're like, well, Chelsea drew such intense hatred and backlash, you can't do your jokes. So I couldn't tell my jokes about being Asian because she made fun of Asians. Now, that wasn't bad enough. About 2 months later, 2007, I'm at a showcase, and she's sitting in the audience. I thought, that's weird. I never met her, never interacted with her. I just thought it was odd that a comedian sitting in a showcase watching the comedians. I said, oh, Chelsea Handler's here. To which she replied, keep going. You're doing a good little Asian job, Steve. I thought, that's kind of fucked up. All right. So here's my point. I personally know Tony Hinchcliffe and Shane Gillis are not racist. I don't think Chelsea Handler's racist, okay? Sure, she's got a long history of promiscuity. She's got an affinity for day drinking. She self-admittedly prescribed a lot of antidepressants. Rumors to be awful to work for. She got a punch card to a plastic surgeon. She's accused of punching down in a comedy. She's never been married, doesn't have kids. She lives alone in her 50s in the Hollywood Hills. And she's had dinner with Jeffrey Epstein. But that doesn't make her racist.
You know what the best part about that was? I didn't see any cuts unless I missed it. That was all monologue and no script in sight. He wasn't.
You get good at that as a stand-up.
Yeah, there was no camera, no looking off, off to the left or anything like that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and I think her behavior following the Kevin Hart roast is so typical because it reeks of someone overcompensating for their own problematic past. Like, she doesn't believe she has to answer for any of this. And she also gets to morally grandstand over these other comedians and call them bigots when she's literally done the same exact thing multiple times. It's a pattern of behavior. And it's now just racist jokes for me, but not for thee. And a classic case of pulling the ladder up behind you because back in 2007, you could get away with more than you could in the 2020s.
That is true. All right. We got a 20 here from Not That Jon Stewart. Says, watching delayed. Have a good holiday. Let's go. All right. Thank you. I mean, I don't know what you mean by watching delayed if you're just behind in the stream. But once this catches up to you, my friend, I hope you're having a good one. And thank you. So let's move on. Let's talk about how the media is trying to destroy Chad Miles Teller.
Well, we talk about this often on the show, the fact that the media has enmity with actors and actresses and entertainers. These people walk in blind to interviews, expecting that it will be a puff piece. And reliably, every time they pick an unflattering soundbite or a misinterpretation of their words for the most amount of clicks. And Miles Teller just told the story of how this happened to him and how he lost trust in the media as a result. Back in 2015, he did a profile with Esquire that portrayed him as a dick, and it actually called him a dick. The actual title of the article is Miles Teller is young, talented, and doesn't give a rat's ass what you think. Our latest cover star is on a quest for greatness. Sometimes that can involve a bit of dickishness too. And at the time, he was deeply offended by it. He even put out a statement saying that it misrepresented him, but he addressed it again in a recent interview with IndieWire. They asked him, "You seem to be delivering performances at such a level that you keep getting more work. The work itself is selling you. You had to counteract some bad press. Did that hurt you in terms of getting roles?" And he knows exactly what they're referencing here and responds, "That was so mishandled. The reason why I have not done profiles is because I said, wow, if I'm not doing this interview on camera, this person can misquote things or put things out of order or say things that didn't happen. It felt like such a violation of what actually transpired. I told my team, I don't think I'm doing this again because I'm reading this and this doesn't sound like me. This is not life. So why would I ever want to be part of something where they can just put that in?" So it's unfortunate that being a good person, that doesn't sell. People want to click on the negativity. If you go to bed and put your head on your pillow and how you treat people, truly that's what matters. That 2015 interview was like 12 years ago. And yeah, he said that, you know, his work and his working relationships are what speak for him now. But back then, he was still an up-and-coming star and had a lot to prove. So he felt that it drastically hurt his reputation in the industry.
2015, he would have been in, at that point, he did Divergent in 2014. Yeah. But 2015, he was in Fan 4 Stick, which I'm sure he's been trying to like work the way out of the hole from ever since, with everything that he did after that. I mean, he's had a good year this year. He was in Michael. He's got Paper Tiger coming out. You know, he did Top Gun Maverick in 2022. He was in that show, The Offer. You know, I always kind of make fun of him because I always feel like Glenn Powell got all the opportunities after Top Gun Maverick, but he's by no means not working quite a bit. He's working a lot.
Yeah, definitely. He was in his late 20s when they conducted this interview. It's just funny that he still didn't fully learn his lesson because he thinks that a video interview can't be manipulated in the same exact way.
Yep.
But I went and read the piece from 2015 and it's pretty hilarious. I think we're now at a place where we can look back at it and laugh. I hope. He still seems really pressed about it, which makes it funnier. But this was written by Anna Peel at Esquire. And I'll say this, she writes it like it's a piece about a bad date that she went on with Miles Teller.
Okay.
Which makes her sound like the one who's more bothered than anything. So she starts it off strong. "You're sitting across from Miles Teller at the Luminary restaurant in Atlanta and trying to figure out if he's a dick. You've just told him by way of making conversation that, according to legend, the champagne coupe in your hand is shaped like Marie Antoinette's left breast. And he tells you the highball glass is modeled after his cock. Then he tells the waitress the same thing." So I don't know, man. It's like, if he didn't say that, and if that didn't happen, like, that's pretty crazy to just make it up.
Yeah. Oh, please.
So it's like, maybe he just said a lot of things that he ended up regretting in this interview more than them just making things up whole cloth.
It was
that shit definitely happened. It's so specific that there's no way
that's not the point happen. Though. The point is like, in no way did I assume he probably assume that was going to end up in the write-up about him.
Right. But I guess that's just naivete that needed to be culled out of him over time. And also, you know, I know 2015 is widely regarded as the beginning of what we call current year. But at the time, maybe people were still getting used to the idea that it's not okay to be a frat bro anymore. Mm-hmm. And he definitely, in this interview, comes off as one, like the worst stereotype of one. They say He's wearing a pool blue V-neck that shows off the Roman numeral tattoo on his arm, a reference to the 32-ounce beers his high school friends were forced to buy because 40s were not available in Florida. He explains that everyone in the 32 crew got this tattoo after a night at the High Octane Saloon from a man they bribed out of bed at 2 a.m. to needle crooked X's and I's onto their biceps.
I'm sorry, but I can already tell you what this woman is writing fan fiction where in her mind, this guy doesn't succeed in life and he peaked in high school, and you write the fan fiction about how he never accomplished what he wanted to and he lives in the past, except for he's not living in the past. And that's frustrating when you've got a bias.
Yeah, she definitely sounds salty about his success. And then he recounts a DM that he, a 28-year-old actor still trying to find his place in his profession, sent to 5-time NBA champion Kobe Bryant through Twitter, RIP. He said to Kobe, "Watched your Showtime documentary, really related to what you're talking about and striving for greatness and how it can oftentimes be an isolated journey and how relationships can be a weakness in a way if you're really kind of going after it."
Oh, she's going to hate him even more because you know what this is? This is the Timothée Chalamet, I want to be the best in my field, where you're hated for actually taking your job seriously. Kobe could do it because he was an athlete, so there's a win and loss record, right? And Kobe's work ethic is legendary in basketball. But if a white dude wants to catch a vibe as an actor and be the best in his field, oh my goodness. Like, what is he supposed to do? This dude was on strike 3 before the appetizers even got there.
Dude, 28-year-old Miles Teller was the millennial proto Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
It's so true. He says he wants to contribute to the body of great acting in the world, to the he can't find the term, cache, catalog, canon, whatever. You know what he means. He thinks he has something to offer. So yeah, he's kind of a dick, but the thing is, you agree with him. His admittedly limited body of work so far, his a word you define and spell for him, so who's the dick now, is pretty great. Anyways, they get to the end of this.
She probably worked in verisimilitude in there somewhere too to explain to him.
Not all of them were winners, but they allowed him to show his thing, his Tellerian essence, by talking faster and drinking more and seeming to give fewer shits and inhaling more of the oxygen in the room than anyone else.
It just sounds like exactly what happens when you find an actor who's charismatic and actually makes it in their field. They can go in a couple of different ways. They can be the one who's unbelievably unassuming off camera, and they're very, very professional, and they turn it on right when the camera, right when they say, action. Or some of these people, they are just that type of person, and they've got that type of blinding charisma that tends to eat up a room.
She also goes on to write this excerpt that honestly, it would never be written or approved to publish if it were about an actress instead of an actor's looks. Mm-hmm. She basically calls him ugly. After the waitress leaves, shrugging off his comment about the highball glass, you ask him about his hair. He's brought up how nice it is in more than one interview. It's a little defensive, like maybe he's making up for not being the best looking or sometimes even the third best looking guy in any given movie he's in. He says, "I was thinking about that today, how I probably think I'm better looking than the public thinks I am." With a laugh, like it's funny that he's willed himself into a higher tier of male beauty through limitless confidence.
What's weird here is she's not lying about stuff. When you look at him, me and you talked about it before the show, he's not what you'd consider to be the most traditionally Hollywood handsome. In fact, I made the comment, I think to Olivia, I was like, this dude benefits from facial hair greatly. Like when he's clean shaven, he doesn't exactly look like the traditional male beauty standard in Hollywood. She's just unable to seemingly separate her bias from the way she's writing it.
Yeah.
And there's actually a place for that in the industry. We complain all the time that there's two categories. There are the writers who love to put the artists in a spot where they have to have like a quote that's going to be taken out of context, and that's my view. A lot of these writers dislike the actors, but there's also the ones that are they're sycophants. So,
Right.
you know, she's kind of annoying, but at the very least, she's pushing back on, you know, somebody in a way that makes it funny and interesting. And it clearly affected him if it's still bothering him to this day.
Like living in his head rent free for a whole decade.
I'm kind of here for it in a weird way. I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so he says, I was in one of these forums about a film I did, and it's like, this dude is so ugly. How does he get the effing parts? Well, he's not traditionally handsome, but, and that's kind of what it is. Maybe it's because I came from a small town, but I always did well for myself. You take stock. The nose is crooked, the eyelids fleshy, the chin soft, the cheeks mottled with flush. He's right. He has good hair. He's tall, solidly muscled, with a nice tan. He's appealingly attainable. A good-looking guy who shouldn't know he's good-looking, who should believe the commenters, except that he dates a 22-year-old model / aspiring swimsuit designer / professional girlfriend who thinks that Miles Teller is attractive enough to have permanently monogrammed her ass with his initials.
He got married in 2019, by the way, and he is still married.
Good for him. I didn't even know that.
Yep.
He's one of those that doesn't seem to talk about his personal life a lot. Except he really did in this interview. He talks about this traumatic car accident that he went through in college.
Well, his brother also died in a car accident, I believe.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of friends that he mentioned who died back to back 5 weeks apart in separate car accidents. But this one that injured him was a huge reason why he let go of his entire college friend group, because he was in a situation where he didn't want to make the driver feel guilty about it, but then the guy who was driving the car like blamed him for suing his parents' insurance and making their premiums go up.
He got married in 2019 to his girlfriend of 6 years.
So was it the same one that they mentioned in the...
Could be.
It must have been.
I mean, he got married in 2019, says they started dating May of 2013.
Okay, it must have been the same girl that she was like talking down on in this interview.
So not only that, he's apparently loyal and still married.
And this is probably the craziest part. The waitress delivers our entrees, scallops for him and pork belly for you. The pork looks great and you offer him some. I'll take a little bit, he says, sawing at it. Then, I can't cut this. You have to cut his meat for him. A man who 10 minutes earlier showed you an iPhone photo of his back muscles to prove how strong he is. He wants you to cut it small. I don't have back teeth. I literally have 4 teeth. Not true. He's right, though. This pork belly is really hard to cut, but still. What are you, bullying me now? He says. His goading is a habit, compulsive, almost athletic. I didn't know they effing put marble on top of their pork belly.
Maybe it's just because it was like over the table and he didn't want to grab the whole dish. Literally, it just seems like a logistical, like nobody actually believes that an adult male couldn't cut the pork belly. You're just putting it in there to be a dick.
Also, this is random, but he makes a reference to Joaquin Phoenix and calls him the nickname Walk. Like Joaq. He called him Walk. And he was like, yeah, I don't know him, but my publicist has repped him since he was like 17. So I just hear his name sometimes. Like, bro.
I can't help it. It's like I'm like, I want to hang out with this dude. I bet you it's an adventure every time. All she's doing is making him look hilariously fun to hang out with.
I take it back. This is actually the craziest part. When they say their goodbyes, he orders you an Uber. You tell him about some recent sexual assault allegations leveled at the company's drivers. So he tells you he's requesting the do not rape service. This is before you could get a female driver on the app. This was the early days of Uber.
Okay, there's actually.
But wait, no, listen. Who is more socially inept? The person who randomly brings up sexual assault allegations leveled at Uber in a random conversation with a stranger, or the person who makes a joke about selecting the do not rape service?
Like, literally, her claim is supposed to be like some type of weird power play. He's like, okay, so you want me to cancel it and get you a lift, or what? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, so he did the only other thing he could do, which is to make a joke about it.
Here's the thing. If Miles Teller, 12 years after this interview, were able to have more of a sense of humor about it, he would be the one who comes out on top. But I think the fact that this is stuck with him so much, and he's been like seething about it this whole time, means the journalist like won
they kind of did
ego battle.
Even this,
like she won out in the end.
Even this photo, he looks kind of pressed, where he
looks wounded.
He's like, look, I was just kidding. Like, he literally looks like he just said that.
Profile was ego death to him, and it has been plaguing him internally for 12 years, and only now has he finally opened up about how it scarred him. Now,
every time he goes and gives an interview, he's like unbelievably formal. and takes everything super seriously.
But like, it does also, the tone smacks of the woman having a secret crush on him, obviously. Like, she's like, oh my gosh, he's such a dick. Like, he thinks he's so much more handsome than he is. Like, he makes all these offensive jokes and he just thinks he's so cool.
He said he's messaged Kobe Bryant.
But like, she obviously is into it in a weird way. Yeah. Someone responded with a picture of the journalist saying, the chick who wrote this finally got her revenge on every popular guy who never gave her attention.
That's what I was saying. That's literally what I was saying. She had to believe that he was gonna peak in high school and never be anything else. Then you know what it was? She saw like that he was in the trailer for Top Gun Maverick. She's like, oh, fuck.
That was like a canon event in her life.
She's like, you gotta be kidding me, man.
She got in the shower with her clothes on that day. But you know, I mean, I look at her and I remember plenty of popular girls in school who looked just like that. So maybe they're writing fan fiction about her too.
Everybody's apparently writing fan fiction about each other. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. It is now time for you to reveal to everybody just what this thing is that men are doing that are giving a whole new generation of women the ick. Guys, you got to watch out for this one.
Yeah, watch out, fellas, because there's a new ick in town. As if the dating scene wasn't hard enough to navigate, seems like there's a new ick popping up on a weekly, even daily basis. And this latest one, it doesn't surprise me at all. This article is titled, Men Haven't Yet Noticed That a Large Number of Women Are Disgusted by AI.
You know what
this is? And they use this incredibly evocative stock image to explain the dynamic happening here. He is endlessly yapping about the new AI agent he just built on Claude.
He's like, look,
oh my gosh, let's talk about literally anything else.
He's like, I'm not done yet, though.
I trained it to make my workout routines based on the moon phase.
But also the other thing is like the whole previous story about Miles Teller is like, if it was happening today, it would be about him talking about his Bitcoin portfolio.
Yeah, if it wasn't, AI, it was crypto in the 2010s.
Yeah.
And before that, I guess the last tech craze was everything can be an app. Like, oh, they just made an app for that.
So guys, you got to be careful. If you love AI, you're going to have to, like, she's going to treat you like a data center and get rid of you. You're going to have to stop right now.
Well, this isn't surprisingly just about getting to know someone on a first or second date. This is about relationship dynamics as well. They say behind every AI-obsessed man is a tired but supportive woman. And we really need to just give them golf claps right now for their strength, they're stunning and brave for supporting their men on their AI journeys. If you've been on TikTok lately, you might have come across a viral meme showing yet another dark side of AI, its impact on cis-het relationship dynamics. Variations on the format typically depict a woman working hard at a laptop with a caption explaining she's burning out so her man can run an AI startup that loses 30K a month. It feels like there's a serious side to the jokes, since they come in the dark shadow of many grim stories about tech colliding with established relationships, breaking up marriages, and facilitating infidelity.
Well, see, here's the problem. She's not working hard enough, because the men that are when you swap these roles, what the men are doing is they're running extremely, successful hedge funds, and they let their wives lose 30 grand a month on some tchotchke shop so that they can write it off on their taxes. So she needs to work harder so that her man's AI startup can lose 30 grand a month. And all it does is lower her tax burden. Ladies, you're not trying hard enough.
We're living in a new world where women don't run candle shops. They're actually making the money. They're the breadwinners so that their men can run the AI equivalent of candle shops.
Yep.
And Wired published a related piece on this titled "Meet the Sad Wives of AI." Are you married to a man who is obsessed with AI? I'm so sorry. And they title this, or they introduce this concept saying, if I had to listen to another minute of my husband talking about Claude Code, I might have actually died. It was 11 p.m. in Berkeley, California, where I was home alone with our 10-month-old daughter, and 2 a.m. in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where he was visiting for his newish job in AI. He shouted, "Just look at this." The FaceTime camera zoomed toward a laptop sitting on his hotel bed. See? See what? I thought. I wanted to shower. I had to take the dog out. Are you looking? He shouted again. I wasn't. I was looking at our real baby. But that's the thing. There are two babies in this household now, the small human one and the large language model. Both demand constant attention. Both keep us up at 2 a.m. Is this a Sophie's Choice kind of situation? Please, I'd kill the AI baby in an instant. There's a strange, under-discussed side of the AI boom, what it's doing to family dynamics, potentially destroying them.
Mm-hmm.
This applies to all kinds of families, gay or straight, rich or poor, with any AI-pilled members. The technology has come for us all, but for the purposes of this story, I mostly spoke to white-collar heteros in the Bay Area, because
anybody who uses that
psychological crisis seems most acute.
Anybody who speaks in language like that doesn't have the capacity to be happy for their husband. They don't. Like, this is the thing. Like, so I make the jokes all the time. You know what the opposite end of this spectrum is? Because these people are clearly, they're not amused or bemused by their husband's new obsession. But on the right, the opposite end of this are the women who are like, my husband spends all his time on Wikipedia reading about history and watching Lord of the Rings and learning about the Roman Empire. I love him. He's so guy, right? But these women don't like men, but they're attracted to men. And she doesn't seem to like the fact that he's passionate about something. And the weird thing is, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think writing about it is a bad thing. You as a guy are not going to have just unending interest in whatever it is that your wife is interested in. But you will be supportive of it because that's your job as a husband, as someone. If you want what's best for them, you want them to be passionate about something and to take it seriously. That's important. Writing about it in a derogatory way is obscene to me.
Mm-hmm. It is quite the dilemma, though, because you must admit there's a complicating factor when it turns into a neglect of your other responsibilities.
Yes, well, absolutely. Of course. Well, that's anything when it's taken to the logical extreme is bad. But
Yeah.
my question here is like, they probably hated every bit of this for them far before it ever made it to what, neglecting their children? Is that what they're saying happened here?
Not just neglecting their responsibilities, but according to some of these women, going into debt and like causing their household financial burdens as a result.
Yeah, well, that's obvious. Again, like you have a legitimate complaint here, but they're making it some type of quirky, like he's into this new thing and that's bad. Theoretically, she should be just as mad at him if he fell into like some type of MLM and like is losing them a bunch of money.
I would sympathize more if these were mostly accounts of women who are dating men and those men don't talk about anything but AI on a date. That's a lady boner killer. And I agree with the people who wear those t-shirts that say like, don't talk to me about AI, I will K myself. Like, by the way, YouTube, I'm just joking about that. It's just a funny slogan.
Yes, you didn't say it, so.
It's just getting to the point where it's not just boring to talk about, it's also depressing, especially if you talk to someone who's ideologically and emotionally invested in the issue, and they genuinely are one of these Bay Area freaks.
I'm telling
who
you.
believes that there's going to be like an AI god that solves all of humanity's problems.
I do, however, see a strong market. If anybody here wants to be the next Matan Evan, instead of we love landlords, you need to become the person who starts posting about we love data centers. Because let's face it, most people, there is a whole subset of people who have made hating data centers and AI their personality, just as much as there are people who are saying they love AI. But I've never seen anybody say they love the data centers. So
well, maybe Cities by Diana has gotten on that train early. So they recount it often goes like this. He works in AI and she does everything and anything else. Other times it's bleaker. He desperately wants to work in AI or feels that he must work in AI and she wants him to do literally anything else. Either way, the men go in and the women want out. It depends on how you define working in AI. About 71% of AI skilled workers, according to one report, are men, and there are roughly 35,000 open AI not roles at OpenAI, but open roles in AI in the US at any given moment. Broaden that to include investors, and you're adding thousands more. Broaden it further to include every man who has mentioned to his wife that he is looking at some opportunities in the space, and we're in the millions. Conservatively, that means hundreds of thousands of spouses, partners, and girlfriends holding down the fort while someone mansplains the singularity to them. There are, in other words, a lot of us, and more are surfacing, gasping for air and a single conversation that doesn't involve LLMs. There's a name for our ranks. I call us the sad wives of AI.
I do wonder how much of there's so much bad will attributed to the idea of mansplaining when if you were to actually give the term the benefit of the doubt, it's just literally a dude who's excited about something trying to explain it to you, and then you get mad at him for explaining while male.
Well, this also just doesn't feel connected to reality because honestly, the only people I have encountered so far in real life that try to condescendingly explain AI and their job in AI to me are women. And they usually you can tell they know nothing about AI. They just are so arrogant because I mean, they probably were given opportunities they didn't earn in whatever industry it may be. Because of the fact that they're women, they believe they are experts on the subject and cannot see that they are guilty of the same sort of woman-splaining. Like, I talked to a woman recently who, she said, like, I can't get too specific because you never know, someone might see this, but she was like, yeah, so we're kind of like, we're like a nonprofit that like leverages AI tools for under-resourced communities. And I'm just like, immediately shut the F up. Like, you do not even know what AI is. And it was just word vomit. All over the table. I was just like, please, like, spare me. And then, like, another woman I met was explaining her job in AI to me. Also had no idea what she was talking about. It was very clear. And I'm not saying I'm an expert. I just know enough to know that you don't know anything. And, like, if I even bring up one scenario where, like, well, maybe there's a risk here where this would, like, violate people's privacy or whatever, an ethical concern, they're like, well, no, it's just like, no, it would just be, like, good. It's just, no, we just use it for good reasons. Like, their brain just turns off the second that you have one inkling of criticism for the concept.
Well, that's
of, like, utilizing
like
AI in their industry.
You know what that is, especially if you're talking about that type of consequences. We've got like decades upon decades of people who have been fed the propaganda where, like, after the Patriot Act, for instance, was passed, and they're like, well, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about. And there are a lot of people that buy that concept because it's not based on principle. It's based on, like, what they believe the desired outcome would be in a perfect world. And then they assume that the government would operate that way, even though anybody with any rudimentary understanding of, you know, what governments are or how they've behaved in the past know that is a horrible idea.
They interviewed a chair of labor studies and employment relations at Rutgers University for this Wired piece, who said it comes down to what economists call the ideal worker, career obsessives who believe that pausing even just for 5 minutes will result in a lack of productivity. The phenomenon isn't exclusive to the AI era. Take the gold rush, for example, when American men left their families to travel west, work, and profit quickly. She said, someone who works many hours, giving all of themselves to this new force, that means less time at home for their partner, less time for care work. For women, this can result in feelings of being unheard, and many of those sad wives are turning to therapists for support. Consulting a series of family counselors, Wired found evidence that it's a very real phenomenon that's only getting worse. In addition to abandonment, these women are also forced to ride the emotional roller coaster of the nascent and chaotic AI industry. With job loss comes depression within the household. If one person is going through adverse mental health effects around job loss or uncertainty, the other naturally becomes the support person.
We got $20.
Disregard the fact that divorce rates skyrocket when men lose their jobs.
Yes.
But
we've got
whatever.
a $20 super chat here from Robert Delara. Says, did you see recently some of these college graduation commencement speakers preach to graduates about how great AI is for society and received a chorus of boos from the crowd? People are getting sick of hearing about it.
I saw several. And, you know, I think they wouldn't bristle so much at the mention of AI if it were balanced in any way, but in each of those clips that I saw, we're probably thinking of the same ones. First of all, we're like, these people giving the speeches are like boomer women who don't even know what AI is. Again, they just like assume that they're an expert on the subject when they have none of the information or experience. And they're gloating about the fact that all of the degrees they just invested years and thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars into are about to be useless because AI is the next industrial revolution.
Yeah, and that's easy.
I totally sympathize with their reaction.
And that's easy to say when you're on the latter end of your career and you don't have to worry about whether it's going to destroy your industry or not. Whereas the people that do are like, okay, like, you want me to be happy about this? Like,
oh, and boomers just love the idea of AI, even though they don't understand what it is, because to them it just appears like, oh, we finally found the magic solution so that everyone can go on vacation forever. Well, everyone can just go on a cruise. How do you not think this is awesome?
Yeah.
And in one of those clips, most ironically, they were using an AI voice reader to read out the names of the graduates as they walked across stage, but it broke mid-ceremony and didn't read off a ton of people's names.
Shocking.
So this chick moseys up on stage to let everyone know that if the AI reader failed to read your name, sorry, you can't come up again. We're going to continue without it. Lessons learned.
A movie script couldn't have written that better.
And it's just like, I completely share their contempt for these they're so self-satisfied in the way that they deliver those remarks. And also really they believe they know more than the young people who are actually contending with competing with this technology. It's just, it really is satisfying to watch them get checked in real time. But anyways, I was really hoping this piece would focus on like dating and not people who are in committed relationships.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that was most of the focus. I would just say as a warning, whether it's AI or the Roman Empire, whatever your Roman Empire is, don't let it completely monopolize the discussion on a first or second date when you're just getting to know a person.
Yeah. When me and Olivia met, I was just like, do you want to hear about person of interest? And I just talked about it for 2 days straight. She married me.
Unless it works, yeah. In your case.
That actually did not happen, but it is like impossible to watch the show because I have to point out all of the little details you don't notice the first time around, and I don't have the self-control to stop myself from pointing them out because I want everybody to love it as much as I do. So...
Well, something that you should be able to do if you're really passionate and knowledgeable about something is explain it to someone who's unfamiliar.
That's actually the hardest thing for me with a lot of stuff. My brain doesn't work. I understand the logic behind that, which is like you understand it so well inside and out that you can almost instinctually explain the most important aspects of the story or of the philosophy of whatever it is. Most of the time, my brain just gets caught up in like, but this is important too, but this is important too. My brain doesn't work that way.
It's the mark of someone who would be a good teacher to be able to introduce someone to a concept in a way that is engaging.
Yeah.
I don't think many people who are into AI have developed that specific skill.
To this day, I could not explain to anybody how to do tricks, how to do skating tricks. I have no, I do not have the
learning by doing it thing.
I was like, because to me, it's been literally all through muscle memory and instinct for so long that the idea of trying to explain it to someone is actually terrifying to me. I would never be able to do it.
Like any class on creative writing is going to require you to creatively write.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Super Chats then, all the way up at the top. Do you got that one there?
I believe so, yeah. Shane H. Wilder said, happy Friday, Brett and Mary. Brett, I hope you enjoyed the retro ads for Meatloaf.
I did.
It's like Spam, but meatloaf in a can. We'll make millions.
We could do that.
I would buy that.
We could do that. That's
sounds nutritious.
Drop your you feel free to spam your meatloafs in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
The meatload slaps.
Of all the times to make the spelling mistake. My goodness.
Burned Oils said Sydney Sweeney would never show up with a dying laptop.
She might.
And even if she did, he adds, we'd forgive her because she's well behaved.
Yeah, but I was told on like a Marilyn Monroe poster that well-behaved women rarely make history or something.
That is so true.
Who actually said that?
Oh gosh, I should know.
And it's like that's one of those ones that's like Matt Walsh will do like some expose on how it's like been misinterpreted over the years.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, I know.
It has.
Like, yeah.
Man, I wish I remembered that now. Okay. Shane H. Wilder said no AI was used, just sweat, tears, Photoshop, Stone Sour, Breaking Benjamin, and Seether with a dash of Taking Back Sunday.
Wow.
Are we talking like retro as in emo phase meatloaf ads? I don't know. I have to see for myself.
The ad did not look that way to me, but I can get down with some Taking Back. Like I was not a Taking Back Sunday fan, but I can be okay with listening to it just by virtue of being around many Taking Back Sunday fans.
It was before my time, but but I definitely came to appreciate it.
There's the meatload ad.
Great stuff.
Brett Dasovic brand meatload, elegant in its simplicity. Yes.
We need to get Sydney Sweeney to advertise it.
She's kind of a whore for advertising. She'd do it.
Someone clip that where it cuts off right before he says for advertising.
No, why would you do that? That's so rude.
Then you'll learn the Miles Teller lesson.
Yep.
Okay, Weary Traveler said, put a mare. Oh.
You're here.
A Mary is on today for the full duration of the show.
I mean, now something's gonna happen. Knock on wood.
No, we're fine. Pinky said, thought about calling out of work today. Do you think they'd buy it if I told them my laptop broke?
Probably.
Well, I don't know what you're trying to imply, Pinky, but tisk.
I want to know how everybody in the chat felt about the supposed military guy in the mask on Fox News. That's what I want to hear about.
Should we just become a conspiracy channel?
No, because I don't have...
Literally everything is a conspiracy.
All I thought when I saw that was like, okay, he's wearing a mask. So what? Like what? What?
What do you want me to do about it?
Like, okay, so like not only did they make like a realistic mask that gets the eyes right, that gets the mouth right, but they're so good, but yet so dumb at the same time that they're like, we're not going to make the neck long enough so that...
No, but they say, no, it's just because... they want you to know
there were comments that said
control.
There's
always like a different there's always a narrative that follows up your first question. Like, no, they made a super convincing mask with a dead giveaway just so they could like lord it over you.
Yep.
That they're lying.
There he is.
Interests are at play here, but so are European interests.
What an old guy's neck looks like? I don't know.
Yeah. It's the shadow of his shirt, and if it's a mask, because everyone's saying it's a mask confirmed. Well, until you take that off, and there's a lizard person under there. What?
This is why we wear saggy collars on this show, to let everyone know that we're not wearing masks. This is us. We're real people.
Yeah. I do like the idea that they're just like, look, we made this like super realistic mask, but we just didn't have the materials to make it longer. Like, and even if it is a mask, okay, so what? He said he's like, Trump has the advantage in Iran. I'm like, they needed to put a mask on somebody to deliver stupid Iran war propaganda. You could just pay somebody to do that. You don't need to put a fucking mask on them.
Yeah, it's pretty easy actually. Brian Bledsoe said, saw Mando and Grogu, and yes, it is basically a shortened 4th season. I liked the first 2 seasons, so I enjoyed seeing it on the big screen, but it's definitely a standalone film for fans of those characters.
Okay, well, there you go.
It doesn't sound as bad as all that, but not great either. Not memorable.
I look at this shit, okay? They're like, look at these things that are months ago, even though they're taken in completely different lighting in completely different situations where this dude has got like an LED board behind him and lights blaring on him from up top. People look different in different lighting. In fact, people use that argument when I was like, I posted like the side-by-side picture of myself with like, with my face being thinner. They're like focal length of the camera. I'm like, okay, so I didn't lose weight because of focal length of the camera, but this guy's a lizard person wearing a mask. Get fucked.
But it's not just that it's a guy wearing a mask. It has to be that he's a lizard under the mask. Like, you always got to take it one step too far.
Yeah.
And I'm interested because usually when it comes to these conspiratorial conversations about like hyper realistic masks, they always say that the eye holes are a dead giveaway, not the neck.
And I actually thought the other side, like the most convincing part of their argument was actually the other side of his neck, was actually how the side of his neck like spills out over the collar of his shirt in a weird way.
That bro just has a wrinkly old neck.
Yeah. I was like, okay, fine. It's real. It's a mask. Nothing's going to change. You're not going to do anything about it. You're not going to revolt. You're not going to start a revolution. You're not going to push back against the government. So, fantastic. You're informed and impotent.
Great. It's not a very empowering narrative.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's another thing that bothers me about the conspiracy shit these days, is that it is kind of like in the eternal black pill and like wash it down with more black pill, because it's all about how powerless we are to stop it, you know?
There's nothing you can do about it. So it's all it is a reason to be upset.
Right.
And fearful.
Right.
Like,
it's just,
unless you're going to have, like, unless, like, I don't know, Greg Gutfeld is going to come in the room and rip the mask off him and reveal that it's what? Who is it? Is it AOC? Is it Ro Khanna? Is it Thomas Massey? I have no idea.
wait, what was he saying on the segment? He was saying something about...
He's basically saying, like, Trump has, like, he was talking about Trump, like, the advantage Trump has on the world stage with the war in Iran. I don't even remember. It was the most boilerplate.
Bro, what advantage? That's crazy.
Like, it's just, I can't. Like, yeah, I could understand it if we're talking about, like, world leaders. Like Trump's first speech after the assassination attempt. Okay? Then, like, you find a dude his size and you put him in a fucking mask and you give him an AI voice just in case he gets shot and killed. Of course, then you have to explain why he's not dead, which is even funnier.
I swear, somebody in real life said to me, like, Bibi Netanyahu is dead. And I was like, why do you think that? And it boils down to, like, oh, well, it's been like a few weeks since he did a public appearance.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then it always turns out the same way, where whoever it is that is secretly dead does show up after weeks of speculation. And it's like, okay, well, what was all of that kvetching for? Anyways, let's get back to the super chats. Read that one from Shane earlier. Robert Delara said PCC should have a shirt that says, "Sigh, I'm so tired." It would sell. Why?
I don't know.
Oh, because that's like kind of a common refrain from Brett when I show him the cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just slowly siphoning his will to live. Smoke Daddy 00 said, "Hey Mary, have you ever crossed paths with Chud the Builder in your neck of the woods? And if so, did you thank him for his service?" Well, I believe that the place where he got arrested wasn't even in Nashville. It was somewhere, some town outside of Nashville I've never been to, but he was actually pretty close. He was somewhere in downtown Nashville prior to his arrest. And I did know about that, but I wanted to be nowhere near his stream, obviously, because I had a feeling something like that would happen. And no, if I saw him in person, I would not thank him for his service. I don't think he's doing anything constructive for society.
By the way, since I'm just going to take it back to masks for a second. I do remember this story from 2010 about the Chinese asylum seeker who put on the realistic mask.
That's different. That is way different.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that the masks don't exist or that it's a ridiculous concept to believe that they're not real, because they are. The point is, why in that specific situation would it have been necessary? The funniest version of it is if the guy, it's actually just the same guy, but he had like razor burn or a rash. So he just put a mask of himself on.
This is just Mission Impossible levels of ridiculousness. But he just constantly is carrying around a suitcase that has a hyper realistic mask of his own face.
Yes. Okay. I literally posted the like, that was what I posted the meme of there's a famous like bit that the wrestler Sting used to do where he would pull, it was like fake Sting would come to the ring and it's actually just Sting wearing a mask of himself.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's this guy.
It's kind of like an aura farm.
And I'm not even going to say that it didn't look like so I actually cared enough about it to like watch it on the TV last night, and it does look like a mask. I just refuse to accept that we live in a world where they can make such a good mask, but then just not make the neck long enough because they're just dumb.
To me, it does not look like a mask. It looks like an old dude with an old wrinkly neck.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be body shaming him for that. Shane H. Wilder said, Brett just went full Michael Clark Duncan from the Green Mile with the cringe. I'm tired, boss.
Tired, boss. I feel that way most of the time, yeah.
Not that John Stewart said, watching delayed. Have a good holiday. Let's go.
Thank you. And a good holiday to all of you.
Shane H. Wilder said, it's an effing roast. Why you gotta have beef, Chelsea? Get it? Roast beef. That was bad. And I feel bad. I'll get my coat and see myself out. I could make a coat hanger joke, but I'm not going to.
Good job.
All right. Moon at Noon sent us a sticker. Thank you.
Thank you. It looks like a diamond.
Thank you very much. Robert Delara said, do you think Miles Teller called up the writer for this Esquire piece and said, WTF is your problem? What did I ever do to you?
I hope so. I'd be call her up after, and it's like, look, I was trying to be polite.
It's like that infamous interview of Blake Lively where like the interviewer compliments her baby bump because she's pregnant.
Yep.
And then Blake is like, I love your little bump. Like
that almost
that
like,
was out of pocket.
When you told me about that, I'm like, that can't be real.
But then like that journalist turned it into her whole like life story. And I was like, give us a break, lady.
Yeah.
Like this was like traumatizing for you. Get over yourself.
Broody Gambit on Rumble says, you aren't missing much with Mandalorian and Grogu. Like everyone says, it just feels like 4 episodes stitched together. I did enjoy it, 7 out of 10, but wait for it on streaming. I wrote more in the Discord if you want more info. I will check that out. Yeah, I've been I've been trying to spend more time, at least posting once a day in the general chat in the PCC Discord. And me and Olivia are working on like a twice a month weekend Discord, like exclusive mini show that I want to do like from home on a Saturday night. So
nice. You know what, guys? We all have an obligation to see The Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters because this movie is going to single-handedly skyrocket global birth rates. Millions of people will have this movie to thank for the fact that they were conceived.
Yeah.
Because Grogu baby fever.
That's what it is.
Shane H. Wilder said, side note, Pope Leo's first encyclical Magnifica Humanitas on the dangers of AI and human dignity drops on Monday.
Okay.
That's exciting. Oh, that's what I'll be doing on Memorial Day. I'll be reading that poolside. I'm glad that he's speaking on the subject. Rust Cole 01 said, "What are the oranges for?" I know this is related to the quartering, but I still don't know what it means. So
I was gonna say that what if it had something to do with True Detective because of Rust?
Why?
Cole. Well, because Rust Cole is Matthew McConaughey's character in True Detective.
No, that's just his username.
Yeah, no, I know. But what if it was actually Matthew McConaughey who was sending the super chat?
All right.
All right.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Can't a dude make a 1950s ad while jamming to early 2000s alt and hard rock?"
Yes, you can.
God forbid a white boy catch a vibe. I just thought that you meant it was the soundtrack to the ad, which would add an interesting twist. Dinkus Khan of Gongolia said, "R.I.P. Kyle Busch."
NASCAR driver who died a couple days ago from like a mysterious illness, got sick very quickly and died.
Didn't hear about that.
Yeah. And then I literally watched one of the dumbest people in the world on X say like, "Could it be hantavirus? I'm not going to speculate." They literally speculated and then said they weren't going to speculate. And then people called them on it and they're like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, if this is a troll, you are a grade A troll. It was amazing.
If this were a few years ago, they definitely would have said like, did he get the jab?
I mean, people still do that.
Yeah. Which is kind of Kind of makes me lose my
See,
faith
the
in
worst
humanity.
part about Pretty Little Liars ending in 2017 is we didn't get to see COVID era Pretty Little Liars with like fashionista masks.
Wait, hold on. It lasted until 2017?
Went 7 seasons.
When did it start?
2010.
That's wild. I thought it started earlier than that
Nope.
for some reason.
2010. I started. I did. So the other day I rewatched the pilot, and it was really bad. Like bad in the best way possible. Poorly lit, poorly written, dialogue poorly delivered, and everybody's a bad person, except for maybe Arya, but still, they're all kind of bad people. And
I still haven't gotten around to watching it.
I think you would. I don't confidently say you'd like a lot of things. I think you might. I think you'd like it. I think it's absurd enough that if you like Gossip Girls and you like that type of stuff, that you would probably enjoy it. And my point that I was making with my tweet last night was like, in a world where every show is shot so damn dark you can't see what's going on, they literally overexposed half of the shots. Not just in the flashbacks, where that's like the purpose, where everything's kind of vaguely overexposed for some type of artistic effect so that you can see that it's a flashback. The stuff shot in the city, in Raven or Rosewood, they look overexposed, like they didn't know how to light the indoor set for sunlight.
Well, the thing with Gossip Girl that differentiates it is, although the plot lines are kind of ridiculous, it's not nearly on the same level of absurdity as Pretty Little Liars. Like, it is still basically grounded in reality, like something that could actually happen.
Yeah.
It is just wild. Most of the content I see about Pretty Little Liars is about the outfits, and it's just crazy how like these teenage girls in the show are going to school in like full on like business casual / club attire.
Yes. Yeah. No, the whole thing is like, it was very clearly a vehicle to dress them. Like basically they turned them into little dolls that, oddly enough, that they could dress up.
I love that they paid such close attention to detail in the costume design for the characters, because I mean, that was kind of how clothes were on average before, everything became like trash. Like, you could go to a retail store and find unique pieces that at least mimicked what you would see on a show like that. Yeah, it's just sad that you don't see that anymore.
I think you should try and watch it. At the very least, if you don't like it after the first couple of episodes, you can nope out. But one thing that I loved about it is like, they didn't give a fuck whether you knew what was going on. They went through like 9 storylines in an episode. I'm not like so I watched the pilot like right before bed the other night, and Olivia had already like taken out her contacts. She's not watching it. She can just hear the really bad dialogue, and it's absurd. And she started watching it with me like yesterday, and she's like, who is this? Who the fuck is that? Who is that? Like, wait, have we met that character? Like, there's like 40 characters in every episode.
Can we make a deal that I will watch the first season of Pretty Little Liars if you watch the first season of Gossip Girl?
I can do that.
We can shake on that.
I can do that. Oh yeah.
Virtually.
Virtual shake. I can do that. I got to find out what streaming service it's on, but I'm pretty sure it's on at least one of them.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look at that. Yeah.
And I only really watched up until like season 3 or 4. I was like, after that, I'm not.
Well, it turns into the Riddler, like from what I've heard.
Well, like online, somebody's like, my wife loves that show, and I was like, the cops. There's like no cops in the show. I'm like, no, there are. They're just really bad at their job, and A is basically an omniscient deity.
Right. Yeah, it's different in Gossip Girl. Like, it's believable enough that there is actually just a person behind it all talking shit about them.
Yep.
Boss N said $2 for Victorian Pale Mary. Glad you're back. Thank you.
Let's speed run the super chats, because you have to hard out at 5, right? So
yes.
Okay.
Pop Culture Junkie said, thank you both for a great start to my 3-day festivities. I hope you both have a memorable Memorial Day weekend. Mary, good luck with your computer. Thank you. I need it.
Thank you for the well wishes, and have a good holiday weekend.
Burned Oils said, Mary, is seeing that beautiful video of Sydney and Scooter what made you break your laptop while saying, why this never happens to me, wah, wah, sobbing.
Yeah, but what you said was like those videos are almost like the people who make those videos are almost always unhappy.
That is a fact.
Because it's performative.
Yeah. I think it's weird to like make a highlight reel for your relationship as if it's a credit card commercial.
No, the thing is though is when we got married, me and Olivia both made like candid videos for the action movie where the spouse that dies young, just in case.
Oh yeah, I love that. With this one though, this one is Emma Roberts going like
mine is like I'm in bed, but I'm like, oh my god, like
stop recording me. You're crazy.
Yeah,
you're crazy.
I was like, just in case, let's record some videos so that we've got, John Wick had to have one of his wife on the beach, so we need one. Yeah.
Just in case. Shane H. Wilder said, you could make the coat hanger joke. I'd laugh. Okay, for now, the coat hanger joke is just me saying I'm not going to make the coat hanger joke.
There you go.
Wodenshot said, you can see his gullet move independent of mask shadow. Never swallow bait. Be wise like an owl. Also, Grogu Whopper and Blue Cookie Shake are good.
Okay.
What is the Grogu Whopper?
Must be a Burger King product collab.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, have a happy Pentecost Sunday and Memorial Day. I'll be spending part of my Memorial Day reading Magnificat Humanitas while watching the rain. It is going to be rainy here for quite a while.
I ran in the rain for like the other, because I got to get I'm over 10,000 steps a day. And
Did you pull a Drew Barrymore where you like looked up at the rain and you were like, huh.
I did that exact thing. And then it got in my eyes and I'm like, fuck.
Isn't it insane that turned into like a controversy about how Drew Barrymore can only be whimsical in the rain because she's white?
Yep. Yeah.
That was crazy.
We need to do like a flashback of the most unhinged discourse that's ever existed.
That has to be in the top 10. Yeah. Shane H. Wilder said Mary would probably like Pretty Little Liars, just avoid the 2 sequel series and the weird werewolf spinoff that makes no sense to the rest of the show.
Was that the Ravenswood one? The Ravenswood one where it's because Toby Kavanaugh comes from Ravenswood, and Toby Kavanaugh is basically supposed to be like Heath Ledger in 10 Things I Hate About You, where there's like all these like rumors about who he was before he came to the school.
Are you telling me that there are werewolves, that werewolves exist in the
not in Pretty Little Liars
PLL universe?
Apparently, but not in the canon show.
All right.
I mean, if it does, I missed that part. That must have been in seasons 5 through 7.
I'll be outside the studio, outside of the soundstage with my sign. This is not canon. Guys, Brett just AI generated a photo that he requested a photo of angry fandom.
Yep.
And they were like holding AI generated signs
that said, this is like some of them not canon.
Not canon.
Not canon.
Brian Bledsoe said, in relation to Mando movie, more TV shows should show in theaters, maybe not in a wide release like this one, but 1 or 2 week limited release. That's not a bad idea, but then they would think like, oh, what are we going to do? Like if people don't go over to the streaming service to see the new season.
Yeah, they make more money off getting you over to the streaming service.
So they probably wouldn't do that, unfortunately.
One more.
I don't see
Shane H. Wilder says it was Ravenswood.
Okay. Yeah. So there are 3 spin-offs. That's crazy.
I mean, the show is very successful. That makes perfect sense to me that it would have, they would have at least tried. They tried to do that with Suits. They tried to do the Jessica Pearson spin-off, and then a decade later, they tried to do Suits LA, and it just didn't work.
Do the characters get updated phones throughout the show?
That was one of my favorite parts. Arya has the most, I don't know what this thing was supposed to be in season 1, but it looks like the most impractical phone I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks like when you go to Warehouse Cinema and they give you the thing for you to get your food.
Beeper?
Yeah, like the thing, it looks like that.
Wait, wouldn't it have been the T-Mobile Sidekick back then in 2010?
Most of them had.
No, it would have been an iPhone by then. Yeah, everyone had iPhones. Not everyone, but like in TV shows, they definitely had iPhones by then.
No, iPhone 4 was when they started really getting iPhones in TV. That would have been 2012.
That's true. That's true.
So,
but I liked watching that throughout Gossip Girl as well, because they start Gossip Girl in the flip phone era.
Yeah, that's actually better, because then in the show, all 4 of them have different phones, which, theoretically fit their personalities instead of all having. Then all you get to do is decorate their cases differently. And
now we
boring.
have flat design.
Exactly.
Isn't it so much better?
All right, guys, before we go, would you all please hit the like button on this episode and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Remember, we will be off for Memorial Day weekend. We will be back on Tuesday. There will be clips coming out independently throughout the weekend and then on Monday and Tuesday, so be sure to check those out. Also, check out the Timcast Discord and check out the PCC section in the Timcast Discord, because I'm trying to get in there more in the general chat, and stay tuned for more stuff there. All right, where can they find you?
You guys can send me validation on Instagram, that is Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X, that is also Mary Archived, and help me get TikTok famous, that is also Mary Archived. I just broke 10K on TikTok by some miracle, despite multiple community guidelines violations. But yes, thank you for that.
All right, perfect. One more super chat here from Pat the Plumber says, how do we get more Brando? I got to have more Brando. Well, I think Brandon will be back on Thursday next week. So
are they calling him Brando now?
I think he calls himself Brando. Or maybe we just started calling him that and he just hasn't told us not to. But
Brando. It's what plants crave.
Exactly. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, which is a great way to help the channel out. If you want to follow us on social media, Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back on Tuesday after the Memorial Day weekend. I hope you guys all have a good one. We will see you then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.